So I've been talking about this framework for ads, and I called it a puzzle, which is good, but other people use traffic puzzle, and puzzle I felt like is so overused and things like that. I'm thinking like, I was trying to think to myself like how, I want to use that kind of metaphor, but how do I like make it my own? And I think I came up with something for me, right? So like, thinking about my avatar, thinking about like, on my website, I talk about a battle plan and all this other stuff. And I was like, all right, how do I, explain, this framework that I have, so that one, it's like original to me and I feel it for me, but it's my clients too, right?
Yeah.
So I came up with this thing and I call it the 4 Horsemen. And I love it. The 4 Horsemen.
Yeah.
To me, it just sounds cool,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's men or man or what it's supposed to be, but that hard for you to see? I don't even know. All right, so this is like, I think I have to remember why people hire me, right? They hire me for my expertise. And I think I have it like, and I don't want to say it's a problem, but at the end of the day, like I'll give a strategy, I'll say, this is what we need to do, da, 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 da. And like my clients are like, well, like I want to do this thing, right? And like some switch happens in my brain where I'm like, look, okay, it's your money. You know what I'm saying? I will execute if you want me to, because that's what you pay me to execute. But I think at the end of the day, they do pay me for my expertise. And I think that's important. Yeah, I think that's important to like remember, like not to just fall into that piece of like, we're just, order takers in a sense.
Yeah.
And not that I definitely hold my clients' suggestions or things they want to do with a lot of weight, but I have to like, if it doesn't fit the strategy, if it doesn't fit the objective or the goals, then maybe I should like give some feedback, like, nah, it's not gonna work.
100%. It's your duty to do that, isn't it? Let's face it.
It's my duty, and sometimes I'm just like so busy, and I'm like, okay, we'll do it. But anyways, so this 4 Horsemen, I would say, is like it should be. It's a framework that needs to be implemented almost like right away, but it needs to be implemented for everybody. And I'll explain what it is, right? So, oh, look how cool that is. So this is a website. We're gonna say my people have a website. And when I thought about these 4 Horsemen, I was thinking like, all right, I think about, what is the Camelot? Is that not Camelot, but who was the king of at Camelot?
King Arthur.
King Arthur.
Yeah, the round table with all the knights and
yes.
Ye olde knights in shining armor. Yeah.
Yes. And that's what I thought of when I heard of this. Now, I had to use 4 because that's the framework, but it's like these people out there that are like similar to the game Risk. When I think about the game Risk, I feel like it's broken up into quadrants, right? So if I look at the game Risk, we'll like break it up into 4 quadrants, which is probably broken up into more. But this is the like what kept going, like the analogy that kept coming to me because it fits into my kind of like traffic piece. So if we say there's 4 quadrants, the first one is, we'll say Google, YouTube.
Yeah.
We'll say Google search. Oh, no, you know what? This is fine. Google. We'll say the World Wide Web and social media. Now this pretty much covers like almost everything, right? Like I don't know what else there is that this wouldn't cover as far as when we think about promoting, think about where people live, where people are, like they're in these 4 quadrants. And as I think about my 4 horsemen, right, it's like, what I need to do is, say someone comes to my website and, I have a visitor, right? So I have all these visitors, but then these visitors go back to one of these quadrants, and it's like, I need to be present, right? Like wherever they're going, if they came to my site, I want to be present. There's this new stat that I heard that it was like, before people buy from you, they need to see you like 11 times, right? Like it took 11 times for people to see you before they bought. That's like the average right now. So as I think about it, it's like, all right, I need to send my 4 horsemen into these areas so that they see, wherever they go, they can see me. So I thought about that whole like round table thing, right? Yeah, it's like, then go out into the world and like, we're gonna take over the world. King Arthur, I gotta write that down. King Arthur.
These are kind of like, or you could even be Knight Templar, kind of, they've been sent out to represent, the church at the time, and they send them to different places to spread the word and kind of, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
These guys, so the 4 horsemen represent you, essentially your.
Yeah, essentially they're you, because like it's ultimately it's you, or like an extension of you, right? That's how I look at it too. Like these people are an extension of me to get out there and get my name out, or it's me, right?
Same message. Yeah.
So what this looks like is, if someone, for each one of these, and I say Google, so we'll say the first one is Google search. And what happens is someone visits my site, they don't buy, but they go back to Google and then they type in some key term or word that I say, right? So if I'm, if it's the credit, if it's the real estate, it's like they go back to Google and they're like, okay, I didn't get my answer over here. Let me type in some stuff. My ad can show up based on, it's a retargeting search ad. So I'm retargeting people to see what, to kind of still bring them back.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm retargeting, say it again.
You using those like specific sets of keywords that they're referencing on Google search.
Yeah, keywords that are of course relevant to me, so it's like, real estate investing, maybe, so they come to my site, I'm a real estate investor, but then they go back to Google and now they're searching single family investment, multifamily investment, something like that. The cool thing about this part, like the key of it, is that I get to see when my ad is triggered, the exact search term, the exact words that they type in. So how that helps me is like, all right, well, maybe I missed something. Maybe there's, they didn't answer a question, or I wasn't clear about something. So it's really powerful that I can see the exact words, right? So that's the first part. So that's number 1. We'll say number 2 is the World Wide Web, right? So the second piece is a display ad, and display ads are also ran out of Google. And what they do is, so if they visited my site and they go to ESPN, Forbes, New York Times, Google partners with websites.
Popping up on kind of like a down the side or kind of on the top there, moving with the page. It's subliminally sort of throwing themselves in there as you're reading, an article or whatever you say, like ESPN.
Yeah. So the good thing about that is I can see what websites they visit, where my ad is showing up. So I use this example for fishing. So if I sell fishing stuff, right? And they come to my site, now they go to ESPN. Now ESPN, fishing is a sport, right? We could say it's a sport. But people on ESPN is not just fishing, right? They're like basketball, baseball, football,
Focus.
whatever, right? They probably have fishing stuff on there, but it's relevant, but not as relevant. But I can also see if they go to like a fishing blog, and like this website, this blog is only about fishing. And now I could say, damn, not only do my guy goes to this, there's probably other fishermen that I can get with my ads. So instead of just a retargeting ad, let's run like a whole placement ad to that specific website. So now I'm finding more people. Also, the other hand is true, because I'll explain this with YouTube. So the third piece is YouTube. So if they go to YouTube and they type in some word, or they're visiting channels, like my ad can show up in front of them, and I could see again, like what, maybe there's new channels that I didn't know about. Same thing like with the display ads. So it's like maybe there's, a channel, videos. I can either run placement ads directly to those channels, which open up more possibilities of finding my ideal client. But at the same time is maybe there's channels that my ad shouldn't be playing. So I can really, hone in on where my ad, when and where my ad should be showing up. So I'll give you an example. I was working with a remodeling company, and we were just running straight YouTube ads. And in the YouTube ad, we would see like where the video is playing in front of what channels. And it was a lot of kids channels. And I was like, what the heck? So if you think about how that works, right? Like if you're a parent, like I have, kids, I have my iPad or my phone, I'm searching, remodeling stuff. Then at dinner, or, I give my kid my iPad, and all of a sudden they're looking up kids videos.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Those impressions are like worthless because it's a kid who's seeing it, not them.
Yeah, it's a false, it's targeting the adult, but like as you say, the kids that got the phone and they're watching cartoons on YouTube, and it's changing the algorithm, isn't it, of what they're seeing? Yeah.
I mean, and kids may skip or may not skip my video. So like it may cost me, it may not, but it's just not.
And I guess that's like the whole benefit of having different accounts like you do on Netflix, for example, isn't it? You like all the family has a different account, because if you go on somebody else's account, you start watching things, then it starts suggesting, specific movies based around what they might want to watch, like cartoons or comedy.
Exactly. So then you mess up the algorithm because you like, drama, and then all of a sudden you're seeing like Teletubby videos, and you're like, what is? I don't even like, Yes, you're absolutely right. That's part of the algorithm. But the great part of that is like you can control. Like I could say, do not show it in front of this channel ever. I don't care what video it is.
Right. Wow, that's good.
Yeah, so you can like really hone in. And then the last one is social media. Now, social media covers a lot of stuff, but the point of social media is, I can put my ad in front of them, but it really gives me, the ability to test a warm market. Now, because they came to my site and now I'm hitting them on social media, I could test headlines, I could test graphics, I could test descriptions and see, all right, what are they engaging with the most, right? And then I could take all this data, right? So I got, what specific keywords, I got where that, placements on the web, YouTube channels, and with social media, the best headlines and things. And I can compile what works and then use that to prospect, because I know like, all right, this is what they're really typing in. This is where they really are showing up. And now my ads are just getting stronger and stronger. So
it's a much more defined set of data then that you've got to work with, as you say, for prospecting for business there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So not only are you like retargeting and being in front of the person who visits you, but you have the assets of what works and what doesn't, and now you know where to put it. And that's the 4 horsemen.
Yeah. They take all that data back to Camelot, you know.
Take all the data back to Camelot and charge the world.
Yeah.
So
it's good. It's amazing. Yeah, it's a great system.
Yeah.
You could do that with the YouTube. You can actually block kind of what you don't want those to be shown on. That's good, isn't it? Because that's probably a mistake a lot of people make, I think.
Yeah, I think what happens is people just throw up ads and then they just let them be. But there's so much to optimize, whether it's, you know, maybe the wrong words that are showing up, maybe it's showing up in the wrong places, you know, maybe, you know, one of your creatives is just not performing well. And it's like, you know, just because you run an ad, that's kind of just where it starts. And
you know, sometimes with the display ads as well, I've noticed you might be reading an article, I don't know, let's say about like overfishing of, you know, the planet or whatever, kind of, you know, killing the animals in the sea, and then next to you, you've got like, you know, Joe's fishing, you know, equipment kind of advert next to it. You know, it's like pretty bad taste. Then it's almost offensive, the advert then in some ways.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's
definitely one of
I don't know whether you can do that with display ads as well. Can you turn it off with those where you don't want them to be shown?
Yeah.
The fine line, isn't it? Because the article is technically about fish and fishing, but it's like, you know, the details of the article are quite different.
Yeah. It tells, because you're right. I mean, if you offend someone, you're gonna get reported. And then your account is banned and you're pissed.
There you go. Yeah, that's a prime example. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I guess going back to where I started, like, even if say this website doesn't get a lot of traffic, right? It's like, hey, we just started, like, we don't have the audiences built. It's like, you put these pieces in place and they only deploy if people come to the website.
Right.
And if people don't come to the website, then they don't deploy. So, you know, you can start, but I guess initially have it in place. You have this in place for when people do come, then we can get the ball rolling. If you don't have the traffic that you want.
And even if you only have a small amount of traffic, at least it's getting you some like quality data back, you know, that you can use further on, you know. However small that may be, it's still, you know, rather than just having traffic come to the site, you know. It makes sense.
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah, so I mean, is this something that you've put into